Welcome, everybody, to another installment of the You're Still Here podcast. One where I got Instagram over here to my left, YouTube straight down the pipe here, and we're off and running. We're here in November. Halloween just gets thrown right out the window, and apparently we go straight to Christmas. That's been the case the last decade or so. I remember listening to a podcast like 10 years ago. Bill Burr theorized that that's because you can't make enough money off of Thanksgiving. There's not enough money to be made off of Thanksgiving promotions. So they just skip right to Christmas or the holidays. You know, I think it's that with a little bit of, we're trying to, the holidays are just getting shoved down the pipe these days. So, here we are, straightforward. And I've had this song stuck in my head all day. And this has probably happened to everybody at some point for a variety of reasons. But I had a dream last night. That Billy Idol was in the upstairs of my house performing White Wedding. And then in the far back, I could hear my mom complaining that she goes, "Oh, I know this song." This is what I dreamt about last night. Okay? So when you have people, those dream specialists who spend their whole lives trying to theorize dreams and like, oh, you were flying, that means you're trying to, whatever that is. Oh, your teeth fell out, it means I don't know, what does that mean? That you have poor dental hygiene? But all the standard dreams, I would love to have one of these dream specialists come to me like, all right, Andy, tell me, what was it? Were you trying to like fight somebody back and you had the weights pulling on your arms? No, actually, Billy Idol was performing on the upstairs of my house, which is just a couple bedrooms, and he was in the middle saying, "It's a nice day for a white wedding." With my mom complaining that she's heard this song too many times. So go ahead, dream specialist. Why don't you figure that one out? There's a 0% chance any sort of dreamologist, what do they call them? What kind of scam? This ain't going to be my scam of the week, but those who study dreams, it's like, you know what that reminds me of, these people who study dreams? It's kind of like when people give you those stats about dogs or any other animal, and they say, well, pigs actually feel sadness after they break up with their significant others. Pigs. But you know what I'm talking about when they say, they're actually the third most intelligent. Who told you this? Which pig communicated this with you? My problem with all those things, you can't check them. You can't check any of those sort of statistics. When they tell you, dogs actually like eating at, 3 in the morning. Oh yeah, what did they tell you this? Did they? All those zebras, they hate being, confined in 90-degree angles. I don't believe any of those things because nobody's checking them, and nobody's double checking these dream people. Yeah, that went off on a tangent. So yeah, I dreamt about White Wedding, so it's been in my head the whole day. And also what I'm going to try to do here, for those of you on Instagram, I did a little tinkering. I believe there's a little button on the bottom. You can ask a question. You see, it looks like a speech bubble with a question mark in it. So if you have any sort of question or anything that you would like me to address or talk about or whatever, feel free to put it in that question thing and I will get to it. I hope. But I'm still not done with the White Wedding. I received a wedding invitation in the mail, a good friend of mine, and unfortunately, I have something planned with my family for when that wedding is, so I wrote in the card, and if he's watching right now, I can't make it, I'm sorry, it's a legitimate one. I'm going to be with my family away, and always if I'm going to decline a wedding, I try to put a note on the back of it. You don't decline just because it makes you seem like, what is this guy doing? What does he have, like a 5-game parlay and he just doesn't want to miss the games? So I wrote on the back of it, "Hey man, I'm so sorry I can't make it to your wedding, but honestly, I hope it's the I hope it's a nice day for a, and I was gonna write white wedding, and then I just realized that's not the best sentence to write out. That sounds like it would be on the back of a card from one of the Charlottesville people. You know, it's a nice day for a white wedding. Do you think that's what they play at weddings in Charlottesville? Is it Billy Idol, white wedding all the time on a loop? And they don't even get to like the second verse, the third verse. If you go to a Charlottesville wedding, it's a nice day for a white wedding, and they're all doing the. I feel like this is messed up, but I feel like in the South they're doing very simplistic dances, like it's a nice day for a white wedding, and it just keeps looping on that white wedding, white wedding, white wedding. Oh, this song is not leaving my head anytime soon, at all. Yeah. There was something. I believe that's it. Oh, yes. The reason I found that rather fascinating. Maybe this is why I dreamt it. Because I was thinking about how it's finally starting to clear out of the news, but the Dave Chappelle thing, which is dragging on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks about a comedy special, and then there was that whole episode that I quickly explained how on Rotten Tomatoes there was that disparity between the critics giving it like a 30% and the regular people giving it like a 98%. So I went to think, okay, let me go dig around those Rotten Tomatoes. Let me go through that tomato field and see what other types of movies or, pieces of entertainment maybe that Rotten Tomatoes crew might not like because it touches upon that topic, if you will. So I went to Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura was one of the biggest comedies of the 90s. When you bring up 90s comedies, you're straight up looking. There's two massive ones. Ace Ventura, Billy Madison. Those were like the left and right guns. And sure enough, Ace Ventura, it was, I believe, in the upper 30s in terms of percentage. And if you need to know what happens in Ace Ventura, by the way, here's a little trick when it comes to names. There's a lot of names going on now. A lot of pronouns is the big thing. You know what? I'm just calling everybody by their names. What's your name? Dan? All right. Who said we should do that? Dan did. That's my way of doing it. So in Ace Ventura, Ray Finkel becomes Lois Einhorn. And when Ace Ventura kisses Lois Einhorn, he cries in the shower and burns his clothing. When the full police department, who's also made out with Lois Einhorn, finds out that Lois Einhorn was at one point Ray Finkel, they all start scratching their tongues and immediately throwing up. Yeah, I think it's fair to say, if you didn't like the Chappelle special, that one's not going to be too that one's not going to be too popular in your book too. The only thing I want to know is did they go back and retroactively change those Rotten Tomatoes? But that was just the first one. Then I went to thinking, okay, but what about Miss Doubtfire? Miss Doubtfire, I bet you, in the next 2 weeks, will be on a couple of major networks. And I'm not talking about like HBO or something like that. It's not a comedy special on Netflix. You could find that on ABC on Saturday morning. This is Miss Doubtfire. And the song that represents that whole movie is Da Dude looks like a lady. How have they not come for that song? With all the things they're trying to mow down, they haven't come for Miss Doubtfire? Miss Doubtfire. Robin Williams' son in the movie sees Miss Doubtfire taking a piss standing up and then says, runs away, by the way, finds her sister and goes, He's a shishi. He's a shishi. Call the cops. Call the cops because Miss Doubtfire was urinating standing up. And I'm not seeing anything about Doubtfire. And it's got a solid grade on Rotten Tomatoes. Just some food for thought there. And once again, part of the reason I don't worry about, I don't even want to use the term because it's so chalky. Part of the reason I don't worry about being canceled, because that would be the equivalent of dying on the first jump of a video game. Like, oh, you're going to cancel me? Ew! I just go 1 foot back that way. And then I just say, all right, we start again. Like me being canceled would be like me being on Wheel of Fortune. And on my first spin, I'm just some guy on Wheel of Fortune looking at a blank board. Oh, bankrupt. He went all the way from $0 down to $0. So this is like, this is the golden age right here, because there's no need. There's no need to get rid of me, with movies and TV shows, I've been told, because I have way more stories from when I lived in Los Angeles and, pursued acting legitimately. I was on the acting circuit. I'd done stuff on Conan, Tosh.0, you name it. And what I always found funny was when I would go on Facebook when I lived in LA and I would see people ranting about, like, they would be a random fourth grade teacher would be critiquing the acting on Law and Order as if they knew what the hell they were looking at. They think because they watch television, well, I watch TV, so I know what good acting is. Oh, yes, really? So if you had to go on set, so you know good acting, right? So if that's bad acting, I could send you onto set and you can give them the adjustments to fix it? What would you say if you were on set? Oh, act better. And I always found that so hilarious. And I bring this up is because I make this mistake too often because I'm passionate about one sports team, and it's the New York Islanders, and I get into random arguments with people on Twitter, but then I'll just stop because I realize, you're arguing with the gargoyles on there. And I'm not going to speak for all hockey fans, because maybe this isn't the case with hockey fans in Minnesota, hockey fans in Massachusetts, hockey fans in Michigan. Maybe they're just more educated. But let's be honest, in New York, on the totem pole of sports knowledge, hockey is at the very bottom. So what you're getting are those cookie cutter fans who they don't know, they literally don't know what they're looking at. You know who they are? New York hockey fans are people who, when they hear That's Amore come on, they go, and the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. And then when you want them to continue singing the actual song, they go, that's who these people are. That's who Twitter arguers, forget about hockey, in any capacity, are. They're the people who know the first line of That's Amore. And that's what you're getting. And that's who you're dealing with down there. You know those people. Okay, main part of the song comes on, they're hooting and hollering like they've been singing it for decades. Then silence when it goes into the second verse. I had teased a story. I didn't know how to describe it, but this is an interesting story. And I don't know if there are any questions. Let me see. No questions yet. So I do know how to check. So if you have any questions over here on Instagram, you let me know. I have a story that is pretty funny. And as always, when I tell you stories on here, these are things that have happened. If there's one thing that you should know about me, and you go ahead, stalk a random Instagram follower of mine, DM them and say, do you know this guy, Andy? And, assuming they answer, say, like, is he honestly doing all this stuff? Is he really like this? Yes, these are real stories. And I was hanging out with this girl who brought me back to her place. Everything normal. normal. And I'm only going to tell you what she looks like because when I tell you what I saw at her place, I mean, you need to know this. This girl, fully blonde hair, fair skin, borderline, like if I had to guess, like if I had to describe her, and this is at a casting, I'd say, yeah, you know, because she kind of like looks like a California cheerleader, California Valley girl, right? So I go to her place, and in her living room, she has like a massage chair in the corner. A standard one you'd see in a house, right? You know, if somebody has one of those, you know, one of those leather chairs, they're not too dissimilar from this chair, but all of a sudden, they'll start shaking. So I go to sit on it. You know, I'll take any shots to this lower lumbar that I can. So I go to sit in this chair, and I go to find it because, you know, nowadays these things are like Back to the Future machines. You have to put a whole bunch of things in, get it to go to 75 and whatever. And when I go to click the buttons, it's in Japanese. I don't even know what Japanese letters are called. I know look, there's once in a while I'm going to sound ignorant, stupid. This could be one of those times. I know we got Mandarin, but I don't know what this is. Maybe that's me forming some shapes, but I don't know what it is in Japanese. But do you imagine seeing, I'm going to call it Japanese hieroglyphics. Do you imagine seeing Japanese hieroglyphics? You go over to a valley girl in what you assume's apartment, and the massage chair is Chinese symbols everywhere. I thought it was in a Transformers machine. It was unbelievable. Your mind just doesn't, it can't process this. And I have a video of it too. So she had to come over. I go, what do you even say? Like, did you get this like a clearance or something where they had a Japanese version and they gave you like 70% off? Because I know those things are unbelievably expensive. And it turns out she was born in Japan. And she spoke full Japanese, and this was just something I did not know. So that was a wild one. That was a wild one. This girl, I would argue, was in the next Star Trek Next Generation down from me. She was younger than me, and you know, this younger generation is real funny. I've obviously called them absolute imbeciles many times. Just their general understanding of random things like geography, it's befuddling to me because I am in no way, shape, or form anything that resembles an intellect, but I am perplexed at the lack of basic knowledge that people this age have. And even moreover, you want to know what's worse than being stupid? Being like annoying, you know? And that brings me to a New York Times article that I saw last week. I'm gonna get the quote. How annoying is it to hear a sipping sound? I get disgusted with that. Part of the reason I could never have a roommate, I mean, I used to get infuriated when one of them would eat cereal and keep tinging their spoon against the plate, and I just kept hearing ding, ding, ding. They would do like this swirling motion, and I was out of my mind. And I was out of my mind. And I've said this before. I think I said it last week. Trivial things send me up a wall. If my place was burning down, I would be, let's stay relaxed. Come on, let's find the right way out of here. Everybody chill, chill, chill. If you start tinging that cereal bowl with your spoon, I just know I'm upstairs just wishing Billy Idol was playing White Wedding so I didn't have to hear that sound. I'm going to get back to that article in a second, but it just reminded me. about like the small fights and and those little trivial battles. Well, guess who's won around in the never-ending fight versus Instagram? This guy. Like I told you, and I don't know if this interests you, but I guess you're gonna keep getting these updates. I told you they took my account away, never explained why. Through some bunker work, I at least got it back, but then they did weird things like limit features on me. Like, you know, they wouldn't let, and still, if you open my account, they will not let me upload a reel that's longer than 30 seconds. So I got a random notification, like they threw me a bone. They go, Andy, you qualify for the creator program to, I guess, make a certain amount of money if your reels get a certain amount of plays. So they're saying I qualify as a creator to upload reels, and if they get a lot of views, and theoretically they'll push them out there, but then they limit my reels feature. So I go, all right. So then I just started doing my Andy tinkering. I call them Nintendo tricks. I blow on the game, I up, down, all around. So I found a way to beat the 30-second restriction. And I saw on Twitter some other people had this. So if you're one of the people out there that they've put the range on your account features, including the reels limitations, here's what you do. And will probably end it all because they'll patch it up. So hopefully nobody actually hears this. So I have a second account, like a fantasy football related account where I do a podcast with a friend. And when I go to upload things on there, I saw that there's an option to also upload to second accounts. So if you have two accounts associated on the same phone, then it will upload them simultaneously to both accounts. So what I did was from that account, because that account would allow me, the non-restricted Reels account would allow me to upload a Reel for 60 seconds. So I uploaded a Reel to there, then selected post to both accounts, but then removed the original account so that only the account you're seeing right now remained highlighted. And then I hit send, seeing if it would go all the way through, and it wiggled through. And that's how I popped a couple 60-second reels on my account, despite not having the ability to create anything more than 30 seconds. So, look, that's not a massive win. I'm still buried in the bunker. However, you know, they got their high guard up here, and I popped them with a rib shot. And don't see, those are the little wins. Those are the little wins that allow me to sleep so easily at night, so much to the point I'm in a deep REM hearing. Bow, 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 bow. It's a nice day for a Charlottesville wedding. Oh God. Speaking of that, speaking of nonsense politics, I had mentioned a couple weeks ago that maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, who knows? I pondered the idea that Karens across the country, and I'm talking about legitimate people named Karen, not these theoretical Karens, that they wouldn't probably want to put their first name on dating apps because they're thinking, oh my God, like what's this guy going to be thinking? Like does he even want to meet a Karen? I mean, if I was a girl, and obviously I do not know if I share I don't share a mindset with any guys. Let alone, I hardly doubt that I have a bunch in common with that kind of disposition with girls. But if I was a girl seeking a guy and my name was Karen on Bumble, you can bet your ass I'm going with KJ or whatever the hell my middle name is. And now we have a second version of that. What do you do if your son hits double in the gap or he's, you know, the count's full 3 and 2 and you know he needs that extra boost of confidence and you want to let your son Brandon know, come on, let's go. You can't do it. You can't do it. So now if you're in cities with certain types of people? Do now the Brandon? Do the Brandons have to shave their name down to something? Food for thought, eh? Oh, I have a meaningless thing that I want to say. This comes up sporadically. It's interesting. It comes up once every few years, and this is meaningless of a point that has nothing to do with anything. If you think that strawberry jelly in a peanut butter and jelly constitutes a peanut butter and jelly, you're unbelievably mistaken. You know you are. Strawberry jelly is not PB&J. That's jam. That is jam. And it's fine if you prefer it, but just say, I like peanut butter and jam sandwiches. Okay, grape jelly is 1,000% what constitutes a PB&J. And it's fine if you don't like it as much, but it ain't jelly. You know it's not jelly. Look at any cartoon. Go to Google right now, type PB&J, see what colors you're looking at. It's purple. And I know this is a meaningless combo that has nothing to do with anything I just talked about. But sometimes I like to clarify nonsense points. Okay? We're all over the board here. Okay? We go from Doubtfire to legitimate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But now I can finally make my way back to the New York Times story, article, tweet, whatever. I don't know if they're all affiliated, or I don't know if this is just an employee saying this, or this is tied to a full article. But, you know, you come across, and they're all kind of clickbaity headlines. And there's nothing worse than on a live stream to watch some guy look for an article, but it shouldn't take me more than about 5 seconds. But the New York Times, they came out with an article about, I guess, Gen Z in the workplace and in corporate America. And they say, as politically active Gen Z workers come to determine the norms and styles of the workplace, so I guess this means they're just coming in and, you know, demanding things be a certain way. All right, whatever. Some managers are struggling to balance the demands of their employees for political engagement with their own sense of what's appropriate for the brands, meaning these kids are just coming in there cranking out politics. Tell me one that, forget, would you ever even want to grab a drink with someone like this? How miserable are these people? That's their number one, I'm going to get a job and make sure everyone's about politics. I couldn't think of anything less fun. I mean, you talk to older people and they're like, dude, we sell tomato sauce. We don't sell politics. Is that... And then the other side is, then you have like these younger people be like, no, these are political tomatoes. We have to make it a political tomato. If there were aliens who came down and, you know, these were neutral aliens, they're just like, what do you got? Which route do you think they would choose? Which route do you think sounds more enjoyable of a life? One where, you know, people who work for, why did I just... Who's the Italian? Who's the Italian? Chef Boyardee. Could you imagine working for Chef Boyardee and having to deal with politics? You hate your job in the first place. Like, really, is anybody loving going to Chef Boyardee every day, the corporate offices? And now you got to deal with politics at Chef Boyardee? Oh, my God. What a weird generation. What a weird one. But you know what? I can't rip the generation too much because there are good things and bad with every generation. I will tell you this, Gen Z, you want a big compliment? Well, first of all, every single girl in your generation's hot. Okay? There's zero unattractive people from Gen Z. It's preposterous. If you came to my high school, there was 1.3 attractive girls in my grade. And sorry, if you're listening, that's the truth. Okay? And look, call me. If you went to my high school, call me and I'll be like, look, I'm sorry, but now that, you know, I've broadened my horizons and I see who's out there, you know, you benefited from the fact that we just didn't know. And look at yourself and look at the people to the left and the right of you. But yeah, these girls are incredible. And because I have such a younger brother, he was showing me, you know, it's just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So you're all great looking. Number two, they have such like a scam existence that people like me, you got to understand, if I was to meet somebody and they were a little bit older, I couldn't tell them that I'm doing this right now. I'd have to lie. I'd literally have to lie. Hey, like, you know, you're going out on a date, so tell me, so what's, you know, I try to never ask what somebody does, but people take it there eventually. So let's say a girl tells me like, oh yeah, you know, I work in an accounting firm. I got tax season coming up. Well, what do you do? Oh, yeah, I sit in a big green room and rant about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yeah, guess how many more dates she's going on with me? So, you know, a lot of what I put out there is a big fucking big mirage. However, this weird generation is like, oh yeah, right on. It's the opposite. Because they don't make fun of anybody. And you just can't. They're like, I will give them that. I could hang out with somebody. I'm like, yeah, you know, I do this podcast where I compare people to guessers on Wheel of Fortune. Did I ever say that one, by the way? Did I ever say that? How if you ever need proof that an average person would be an awful actor, just listen to how people answer on Wheel of Fortune. Like, you think they're going to be able to take a script and perform it? These are like the same people on Facebook, right? Those people on Facebook I just told you about who critique the acting on Law and Order. They get their one chance to be on something like Wheel of Fortune. I'd like to buy an A! And this is the person I'm supposed to believe is going to take an Aaron Sorkin script and really make it what Jesse Eisenberg did? No. And what's the other example that I used? Oh, yes. And I put, you know what's funny? This is on my IMDb. I don't know how I snuck it on there. But everybody who thinks there's a great actor, just ask yourself, how many takes do you need to record your voicemail greeting? How many? How many did you need? Minimum a dozen. So how about I record a little voicemail greeting for you? And that was my stumble right there. The voicemail box you are trying to reach is unavailable. Goodbye. That's everybody's voicemail now. Oh my God, I had a separate scam of the week. Cue it up. It's scam of the week. My scam of the week, and I don't do this, but this is what I'm calling people out on. People who intentionally keep their voicemail box full so that they can then avoid calls and then not have that person have the ability to leave a message, which then makes them more responsible than they are if there's no message. So you keep that person on a loop. You give somebody the FU button, they're going to leave you a detailed message, but they can't because you intentionally didn't go to the tab on your iPhone and rip through some of that deleting. And it's so easy. You don't have to call anymore and hit 1 and hit 2 and then 7. No, you just go to that right tab on your iPhone and you can rip through it. But the intentional, full voice mailbox individuals. I'm going to be dead honest with you. If I was to call somebody and I hear their voice mailbox is full, not like all the services unavailable, if the voice mailbox of the person you are trying to reach is full, I assume this person is kind of a scumbag. Because if they made that intentional calculation on the voicemail, what other similar calculations have they made? What do you think the ghosting percentages of somebody with the full voice mailbox percentage? They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. So just know that. Know that you're a person with a full voicemail box. I'm giving you 33% chance at being a scumbag.